Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The edge rushers and defensive linemen did not disappoint at the NFL Combine. Also, the Bucs picked up a huge win over Jokic and the Nuggets. And can Travis Hunter be the next NFL shutdown corner, or is he better suited playing receiver?
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
After what has been a long week at the NFL Combine, it felt like, because of all of the storylines, all the drama, all the altercations at Starbucks, we finally got to see the players on the field on Thursday. Damian Parson from Locked On NFL Draft joins me now. And Damian, not only did we get to see some players on the field, of course not playing, this is the Combine after all, but this is the group we wanted to see. The linebackers, the edge rushers, the defensive tackles, and we were not disappointed at all by what we saw. What stands out to you the most?
Man, this is an athletic group of guys, like this is, and it's such a deep class overall. And for me, like to see guys like Landon Jackson perform so well, test well, move well. Like I feel like he really helped himself tonight, the way he performed. James Pierce Jr., a guy that it felt like he was a forgotten name in the edge rush group. We were talking about Jalen Walker, of course, Abdul, Nick Scourton, a lot of other guys, and rightfully so. This is a loaded edge rush group. But he was a guy that, his sacks went down from 2023, but his pressures went up. He went from 28 to 43 pressures. He lived in opposing offensive backfield all 2024 during the season. For him to test as explosive, the first step quickness, the bend, all of that, like he helped himself. And long as everything else checks out with in-team interviews, I would be shocked if he's not a first-round pick after this point.
We saw a number of players, basically no one in the top 10, and maybe Shamar Stewart pushed himself into that conversation. But a lot of these guys have decided we're just not going to be here. We're going to be here and talk, but we're not going to test on the field. Is there anyone for whom you thought that was a mistake?
Man, I would probably, to me, granted, he's projected to go like top 3, but I felt like Travis Hunter. And I just felt like this was an opportunity for him to come out and just like grab everything by the stranglehold and just handle business. You know what I mean? Like, and I get you're again top 5 projected. We typically know quarterbacks don't throw, stuff like that. But I felt like this was a guy that had the full opportunity to showcase his full skill set. Go do drills as a receiver. Go do the drills as a corner. Run sub 4.4. Jump 38, 40 inches in the vert, and just wow everybody in attendance. You know what I mean? Because it's crazy, before the college football playoffs, he was everyone's consensus number 1 player in the draft. And then Abdul Carter had a strong college football playoff run, and that flipped on its head. And it's like, you know what? Then it started to feel like Travis Hunter was the forgotten man himself when he was the guy that was leading the charge the entire time. So if anybody that I would say that didn't do it, that I feel like should have been Travis Hunter. I think he had truthfully the most to gain to really just kind of cement himself.
You mentioned Abdul Carter. We found out he's got a stress fracture in his foot, something that they're going to have to work through. We know the news about Matthew Stafford and what the drama that's there. We don't know if that's going to result in a trade, though that seems to be the direction we're pushing. We get the reporting from Adam Schefter that the Browns are strongly looking at quarterbacks. What storyline that will affect the draft do you think is the most important this week? Because there's been plenty.
Oh, I think it's been a lot. I go to the Browns. Would pick the number 2 overall pick. If Tennessee does whatever Tennessee does, I think the draft officially starts at 2. I think it starts directly at 2, because even if Tennessee took a Cam Ward, Cleveland, you need a quarterback. You don't have one currently. The one that you're paying is to torn another Achilles per reports, or like he's hurt again. So it's like he might not play all 2025. You don't want to run it back with Jameis as your only quarterback. Like you need to figure that spot out, because if they don't do, and you got the Myles Garrett situation that's hanging over your head. So Cleveland is the draft starts at 2, and I think that is the storyline to watch. Is if they're really looking at quarterback, it turns everything on its head for the Raiders to, hey, we got to make sure we nail this Matthew Stafford trade, get our quarterback. The Giants are sitting on their hands, just praying that Tennessee takes Hunter or Abdul so that one of the other 2 quarterbacks falls to them. So I think that is the domino piece, the Cleveland Browns.
Quickly here, what the rest of the weekend are you looking forward to? Give me a player or 2 you're most excited to see.
Quarterbacks, Will Howard. I want to see. Hopefully he does throw. I know a lot of other guys are going to throw. We haven't seen him since the national championship game. Because of how late that ran, he didn't show up in Mobile. It's been kind of out of sight, out of mind for him. This will be our first time seeing him in well over a month. About a month. I would love to see him throw in front of all the NFL teams and prove to them the type of talent that he is. And hey, whatever happened to Ohio State, me winning the national championship isn't a fluke. And then Jackson Dart, the guy that came out of the Mobile with all of the hype. Now, okay, let's go out here and prove that hype to be correct. That battle for QB3, it's not settled right now. And I think that's one of the biggest storylines to watch as the rest of the combine goes on.
You can stay up to date on the NFL Combine by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On NFL, plus the Locked On NFL Draft on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. We're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Bucks front court had themselves a day against the Nuggets. Before we get to that, Steph Curry had a vintage performance down in Orlando. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. I love using FanDuel's live betting feature because it keeps every moment of the game exciting, whether I'm backing my team for a late-game rally or picking a player to hit a clutch 3. I never feel like I missed my chance. Plus, the app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Friday night NBA action boasts a variety of lines to get in on the Nuggets. 1-point favorites on the road against the Pistons, who have won 8 straight. The 2 best teams in the East face off in Boston, where the Celtics are favored by 2.5 over the Cavs, and the Clippers, 1.5-point dogs in their cross-down showdown with the Lakers. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Steph Curry caught fire in Orlando on Thursday night. The 4-time NBA champ dropped a season-high 56 on the Magic's head, including 12 three-pointers, just one off his career high.
Steph Curry just got MVP chance across the country. In Orlando, they take down the Magic 121-115. And quite frankly, this was a game that the Magic should have won. Based on the numbers, they would have beaten just about any team in the NBA tonight. They shot at 50% from the floor, 40% from deep. Paolo Banchero had 41 points in the game. I mean, the Magic started off 15 of 18 from the floor, 4 of 6 from 3, yet at halftime, when they led the Golden State Warriors by 14, I think all Warriors fans felt very, very good, and it's because Steph Curry had that look in his eye. Drilled a deep half-court shot right before halftime to bring it to 14, and from there, the brilliance was just getting started. Curry, 56 points in the game. Why bury the lead? A season high. He had 12 three-pointers in the game, 1 short of his career-high 13, 2 short of Klay Thompson's NBA record, 14 in the game. This was just an unreal basketball game that, quite frankly, you kept forgetting as a Warriors supporter down the stretch that, hey, they had a ball game to win because it was just the Steph show. It was the ball in Steph's hands, and until the doubles came, he was making a play every single time. Steph Curry, what a magical moment in his career. He finishes 16 and 25, 12 and 19 from 3, hits all 12 of his free throws, 56 points, and a 6-point win. Oh, and by the way, that's 5 straight W's.
Elsewhere in the NBA, the Hornets look to snap their 4-game skid against the Mavs.
Sometimes you can win a game and still lose. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Charlotte Hornets, who were down a bunch of players. Mavericks down a bunch of players too, but this Charlotte Hornets team had just lost 4 games by 30 points or more. It was absolutely a brutal Hornets team coming in, and the Mavericks tie game with 6 minutes left in this one. Should never have gotten there, but Kyrie Irving takes over, hits a bunch of clutch shots in the fourth quarter, gets them over the hump, gets them to a win, closes it down, and Moses Brown was actually really, really good in this game. Finished the game with 20 points, 11 boards, 3 steals, and 2 blocks, and actually closed the game too. It's too bad he's on the last day of his 10-day. The Mavs are not able to sign him again. They've run out of money. Happens to all of us, doesn't it? But the Mavs are now going to be without a center. They have Dwight Powell, but other than that, we're waiting on an update for the rest of their centers to come back. And in this one, they could have used somebody else, but they get a win. You'll take it. It's a W in the win column, but not a really encouraging one. The Mavs offense was absolutely terrible in this one. You got some help from Klay Thompson as well, but if Kyrie wasn't making something happen, or if the Mavs weren't dishing to Moses Brown right under the rim, nothing else was happening, and they got to have something else happening.
In women's college basketball, the Florida State Seminoles stunned the number 3 Notre Dame Fighting Irish in South Bend. Tanaya Lotson finished with a game-high 23 points for the Seminoles, handing the Irish their second straight loss in ACC play. It's the first time, get this, Notre Dame has lost back-to-back conference games since 2021. Travis Kelce confirmed he will, in fact, play in 2025. Both Jason Kelce and Pat McAfee confirmed the news on their shows Thursday afternoon. This is the world we live in now. Kelce said in multiple interviews the week of the Super Bowl that he intended to play again in 2025, but was less definitive about his future days after the game on his podcast. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP favorite, the best team in the league, the Boston Celtics, the defending champions, the Warriors with Jimmy Butler, all this stuff. Let's not forget Luka Doncic and the Lakers, but don't forget the Milwaukee Bucks and the Denver Nuggets. They squared off on Thursday night. The Bucks got a 121-112 win. Giannis 28-19-7. Jokic 32-14-10. Camille Davis from Locked on Bucks joins me now. Camille, this is 5 of 6 for the Bucks, and the one loss was a hard-fought game against the Houston Rockets, one of the best teams in the Western Conference. What have you seen the evolution post-Chris Middleton trade for this Bucks team?
That the Bucks defense has continued to get even better. It's been a surprise so far this season that the Bucks defense has outpaced its offense throughout the entire season. But post-trade deadline, you can really see the difference this team defensively. They're playing even better defense than they were earlier on in the season here. And Kyle Kuzma just adds so much with his ability to switch, with his length, and just his overall athleticism on this team. Like, the defense has been outstanding for this Bucks team.
And they've been tinkering with the lineup. They've had this super big lineup that they've gone with to mixed results, right? It had not been as good defensively as you would think it was. Why do you think that changed against the Nuggets, who we know offensively can get as good a shot as they want every possession because they have Jokic, who's a cheat code?
Honestly, the weak point of this jumbo line that the Bucks are running right now is, can Taurean Prince really hold up and defend other guards? And I felt like the Nuggets didn't really test TP too much in the first half. You saw in the third quarter they came out, saw a lot more pick and roll actions with Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, just really trying to get Taurean Prince into those actions. But he held up decently in this game, and that's been the question so far with this starting lineup. Will they be able to hold with Taurean Prince defending whoever the other team's best offensive player is? And in this game against the Nuggets, they were able to hold serve and also win those non-Dame and Giannis minutes, which was crucial in this game.
You would expect the superstars to bring it. I mentioned the eye-popping lines, like this is what Giannis and Jokic do. Giannis takes every matchup personally. You know he takes matchups against guys like Jokic, who I'm sure he feels like have taken MVPs from him. What we did not expect is for Brook Lopez to take it personally in this one.
It was good to see Brook bounce back. Kind of a mixed bag performance from him. Early on, it looked like he was going to have a really long day in the office trying to check Nikola Jokic, which it's a tough day in office for most people trying to check Jokic. He's one of the best players in the game right now. But as the game went on, you saw the Bucks just adjusting, showing a bit more help towards Jokic, as well as Brook Lopez just taking advantage of his opportunities. He was even taking Jokic off the dribble at times in this game, which, listen, I heard Brook mention in the offseason that he did some work on ball handling and just trying to get better with that. Still didn't expect to see that move from him in this one. But overall, like, he had a key block on Aaron Gordon at the rim. He had some big defensive plays, even though he had some defensive lapses as well. Overall, a good game for Brook Lopez.
And in the fourth quarter, under 5 minutes, drives on Jokic and gets the and one dunk where he like really got up there, hung in the air and slammed it home. This is a team that I think they're going to have to shoot the way that they've shot all year, right? From three to be offensively good enough here. But some of your best players didn't have it. And Kyle Kuzma 1-5 from three, Brook Lopez 1 for 6. How are they able to offset that? And how can they, do you think, in the playoffs do that?
Well, Kyle Kuzma has come to the Bucks as somebody who's not been a really plus 3-point shooter. So for Kuz to go 1 of 5, 2 of 5, that would be kind of in line with what you've gotten from Kuz. If you see Kuz shooting 3 of 6, 4 of 6, games like that, those are going to be more so the anomaly so far based on what we've seen so far this season from him. But you were able to get key contributions from AJ Green, who came in during that fourth quarter stint where he hit a 3, Gary Trent Jr. hits a layup, and then AJ Green hits another 3. You saw Gary Trent hit 3 threes in this game. You saw key guys step up and knock down some key shots when they needed to. And that's how the Bucks are going to have to operate. They're top heavy with Dame and Giannis, but they're going to need another guy or two to show up consistently every single game. It doesn't have to be the same guy, but they're going to need 1 or 2 every single game.
Yeah, the Bucks 6 of 10 from 3 off their bench. That helps when you can bring guys like that who can score off the bench. Camille, thanks for the time.
No problem.
You can stay up to date all year on the Milwaukee Bucks by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Bucks on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, is Travis Hunter a better cornerback or receiver at the next level? Heisman Trophy winner and two-way star Travis Hunter will hear his name called early, very early in the NFL draft. Locked On NFL host Tony Wiggins and Chris Carter discuss whether or not Hunter is a better corner or receiver, and should he play both at the next level.
I personally like Travis Hunter better as a corner, and that's only because I think as a corner with his athletic ability, he is an outlier. And these days, with guys like Jamar Chase and all of these dudes, you need a dude that's just as good of an athlete as him and Justin Jefferson, and probably even a better athlete than some of them, guarding them on defense. And that way you can shut all of the rest of the stuff down by actually rolling your coverage over. I'd play him at corner and put him at spot duty at wide receiver, but most of the teams at the combine have said they view him as a wide receiver. What do you think?
I like the idea of him playing corner. I just, the way I've seen Travis Hunter play, I think that he can be a shutdown guy. At wide receiver, he's certainly talented. But I just wonder if some of his wide receiver play is blown up a little bit because he plays both ways, and because, you know, we do like Travis Hunter. Like, I think he's a fantastic guy. And if you take him in the top 5 of this year, you're going to be really happy with what you get. But I feel like at corner, he can be of a higher status than he would be at wide receiver. Like you said, the Jamar Chase, the Justin Jefferson. I'm not sure he would eclipse those guys, but I do think there's a chance that he can get up there and say, like, you know, beat out Patrick Surtain and be the best cornerback in the NFL in short order. And when you're the top cornerback in the NFL at his age, like that could be something that makes you a lot of money for a very long time. Granted, receivers get paid more, and they get paid their fair share too. I just think that when it comes to when he hits the open market for the first time, or if he's, you know, if teams are trying to protect from him getting to the open market, whoever drafts him, cornerback might be the place where he can probably rake in a lot, because I'm not sure, like when I look at his skill set, I think he can be the best cornerback in football.
To me, Travis Hunter is more impactful to your football team playing receiver if I just had to pick one. The best part of his game as a corner is his ball skills, but you're going to affect 3-4 plays a game with those ball skills at corner. At receiver, you might affect 8, 10, 12 plays a game. And then that's just to say nothing of the impact you're going to have on everyone else if Travis Hunter is as good in the NFL as he was in college. A big ask, of course. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. But if you want him to do both, he has to be a corner. If you want him to be the impact player he is on offense in smaller doses and maximize his defensive ability, he has to. You can't do the thing where he plays corner sometimes. You can do the thing where he plays receiver sometimes. So that seems like the way to fully maximize his value. Even if I think he is more impactful to your team one versus one at receiver. And I think he's a better receiver prospect than cornerback prospect. I think he is an outstanding receiver prospect. Even though I believe those two things, I also believe that the best way to maximize his full game potential is to play him at corner 100% of snaps or something close to it and give him 15, 20 plays on offense. The questions from there is going to be, is he big enough? Can he handle it? Because he's not a big guy. Can he handle it? Well, he did at Colorado. And finally, ESPN's Shams Charania confirmed yesterday that Hall of Fame coach Greg Popovich will not return to coach the San Antonio Spurs this season. Popovich held a meeting with the team, who was able to see him for the first time since his stroke in November. Popovich spoke hopefully about his future in a statement released by the Spurs, saying, "I will continue to focus on my health with the hope that I can return to coaching in the future. Nothing but respect for the fight of the NBA's winningest coach of all time. Just can't stay away from the court." It's who he is, and I wish him the best. I wish him good health very soon. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, what did we learn from the rest of the NFL Combine over the weekend? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.